This is take 4. I've been trying to make this video since this morning, early, before 6, and something just keeps faking out. But the long and short of it is we are celebrating Oxford's permanent employment, and yes, hang on, let me see if I can do this. I don't know how clear the picture is, how well you guys are seeing me, but frustration, yes, frustration, this is the voice of frustration. Apparently my phone can't flip the camera midway during a video, which is just as well, because in 2 months I'm getting a new phone. Don't really want to, I'm used to this one, but hey, progress. So Oxford was permanently employed today. Really exciting news in a lot of ways. It's been 7 months of temporary employment and or probation and or this or that and the other thing, and then suddenly it's all spoken word and nothing on paper, and now all of a sudden it's on paper. It's, oh my gosh, it's official. So okay, so you guys missed in the other few takes I was having a cigarette, because I'm excited and I'm slightly tipsy and I might suddenly jump up halfway through. I'm hoping not, but here we go. We are doing a celebration of Oxford being permanently employed, the celebration of, well, just things in general, and my personal celebration of getting, finally, after almost 20 years, yes, literally almost 20 years, a complete Hachette Marseille Tarot. I feel good. I feel really, really good. So I'm going to do a mini reading. The reading is in honor of all three things, you know, Oxford, life, and the tarot itself. My God, what was that? Anyway, I'll also be going a little bit into the history. Now, there are other tarot videos on YouTube. I do realize that are actually much better quality than this one, but I'm doing this for fun. And if I happen to teach you anything out of this, yay! But I will try, really try, and put a link to one of my favorite YouTube tarot channels. The author's name is Donna Leigh de la Rose. She is really amazing. I also happen to be following her on Facebook. She's just really so good, honestly. And even when she doesn't do tarot as such, she focuses a lot on Lenormand. Even her Lenormand are incredible. So go look at her stuff, learn a bit. It's super. So here is for my video for tonight. Okay, so this is the Hachette version of the Marseille Tarot. My gosh. Okay, so I'm sitting outside. There's no way inside that I can do this. But this version of the tarot was released in the early 2000s as part of the Learn and Understand Astrology kit. I can't remember if it was weekly, fortnightly, or once a month, but you buy a box file, okay? And part of it was either 4 tarot cards and or 3 I Ching coins and or what's that other thing I also read? Runes. Oh my God, how could I forget about the runes? And I do apologize, I'm slightly tipsy, so my language might come out a bit funny tonight. Anyway, so I first got my taste of the Hachette Marseille in 2001, a year and a bit after I started reading tarot, when my very good friend, Lady Hero, gave me part 1 of Learn and Understand Astrology, which they were re-releasing a year after the original, or rather initial South African release. And since then, it's just been like, wow, you know. I've been having a really hard time trying to get them. I managed to get 76 of cards out of the deck. When was it? About 2012, 2013, I think, where I was at one of our Cape Town Tarot Association meetings, and I was given this deck by my very good friend Nonna Isle, which I was so thrilled. I just haven't been able to use this deck for like the last 6 or 7 years because the last 2 cards are missing. So my amazing teacher, Zia Frost, happened to have this deck standing on a shelf, or lying on a shelf, when we went for the Mabon celebration, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm missing the last 2 cards, blah blah blah. Next thing I know, he, okay, over the space of like a month, whips out these 2 cards. He says, well, here you go, complete your deck. And I did, and I'm so thrilled. So we're going to do a reading, and we're going to see what the cards have to tell us. I'm not going to go very in-depth. I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and simple. I'm going to do a 3-card reading, and then if memory does not escape me, I'm going to try and explain a little bit of tarot history. There isn't much. I mean, to be quite honest, you'll find more history in the... how can I put this? In the story behind each deck that's being published, than what you actually will over tarot history as such. I mean, they're so obscure, and they've been so mystified over the last few centuries, that getting a clear view and a clear picture is just utterly ridiculous. So let's take 3 cards. We're going to start with a then, now, and maybe. Okay? Now please note, these cards are decorated in a very, very woodcut print style. Now, bearing in mind the 17th century, this was the style of art. You had the odd artist bringing out like portraiture and things like that, but for the common person, this style of art is what was brought out. It was easy to reproduce. I mean, I've seen how they do woodblock printings. In fact, I saw a few videos on ukiyo-e, and it's, besides the skill required to carve fine lines, this style of printing and art, it's like carve, paint, whack on paper, done. You don't have to sit and wait 3 weeks in between layers to set to bring out an amazing work of art, as they were doing for the portraits and things. So, let's look at these 3 cards. We've got the 5 of coins, we have the 8 of cups, and we have the King of Cups. Okay. The 5 of coins speaks about a situation in which one feels lonely, left out, out in the snow. The thing is that with this, you have to remember, there's always help. In terms of this, now please bear in mind, again, this is just a reading, this is a generic reading. You can either apply this to your life. Generic readings tend to do that, but this is also an example of how you would kind of look at Marseille Tarot. We call them pip cards. As you can see, the King of Cups, the court card, is actually highly decorated as compared to the other 2 cards, but again, that was the style of the time. So we're looking at the 5 of coins. In modern tarot, the 5 of pentacles. You're looking very much at a set of circumstances in which you felt very alone, very left out. Not so much that you were in the doldrums, although it felt like it at the time. You need to bear in mind that this is a stage that everyone goes through at some point or another. Now, let's take my situation as an example. I was diagnosed with depression in November. I was on medication up until the end of February, beginning March. About midway through March, I could finally stop my medication, and I had a very mild form compared to some people. But in terms of that, you can never control what your thoughts are doing when you have depression. You deal with it, which I had to learn to do. And this is what this card says, whether it's depression, whether it's financial situation. I'm just using my life as an example. But this is what's past. So you have been able to see the situation and know for yourself, you're stuck here, but there is help. Then we're looking at the 8 of Cups. Now the 8 of Cups says that, looking at the previous situation, pack up and go. Leave it all behind. Here you need to kind of pack your bags, or just leave everything behind and just take a walk. On modern day tarot, you'll actually see 8 cups stacked not one on top of the other, but stacked up in a pyramid. and a gentleman in a cloak, or a figure in a cloak walking away from the Pyramid of Cups. It just says that your involvement is no longer necessary. In terms of visual tarot, it means that you just need to kind of leave it all behind. With these, you cannot easily see how that fits in. There's no visual key for pip cards as there are in modern tarot, and I'll get to that in a bit. Then the maybe card, the then card, or rather later, if you want to call it that